Hey neighbors, it's Jahdai Jones here, your content creation specialist. I am currently here with Robert Cohn, journalist, reporter, and he recently did a story about tipping. So he's going to tell us a little bit about that story, what was the process of writing it, and can you kind of give us a gist of what the story is about?
The story is called Tip Over a Barrel Over Tipping. It's about people have been telling me everywhere I go, I am asked for a tip for a scone. Not asked, the digital platform devices with prompts, 35%, 15%. And some people say they're fed up with it, they're frustrated, they feel cornered. I've been hearing this a lot. So I said, this sounds like an interesting idea for a man on the street story. But it morphed into something else. I thought about it and I said, where am I going to go with this? And my managing editor said, let's, take it overnight, go to bed on it and, let's see where it is next day. Well, I couldn't sleep on it. I kind of tossed and turned all night over it. I got up very early, went out to some coffee shops in downtown Bisbee, and the reactions I was getting was frustration, anger, upset. It's like a massive billboard in my face all the time. Gardeners, tattoo artists, hairstylists, maids, everyone's asking for a tip now, and I learned it's called tip psychology, tipflation, tip guilting, anything you want. It's a trend that's happening from one part of the country to the other. How I wrote this, I got up about 2-3 in the morning and I had an idea for a sentence or two. I said, well, I'm just going to do 2 or 3 sentences. A scrap of paper went to a big piece of paper. Suddenly it was basically writing itself. By the time I got to the office at 8 o'clock in the morning, it was half written. So it came out well. I spoke with people who were angry about it, people who love the prompts because that's how they make their living. So we have 2 sides of it. So that's how the story came out, and across the country, it's a trend that seems to be growing and growing with the inflation status that we're now in.
Yeah. I went through a drive-through the other day, and it asked me for a tip, and I was like, I just drove through a drive-through, so it's pretty crazy.
I spoke with Mark, what's his last name? Schmidt. He writes a small business column for the Herald, and he is a program director for Cochise College Small Business Development Center. His take on it is, look, everywhere you go, it's happening. It's going to be more than 20% in a year, just because it's a growing trend. Is it too much? He doesn't feel that way. He feels people in the service industry are not paid well. This is part of their livelihood, whether we like it or not. Unfortunately, having a payment platform in our faces all the time takes away the pleasure, if you will, of wanting to pay somebody for service. It's like almost forcing you to make a decision instead of an obligation. So that's how the story came about. I think it's going to go over well. I don't know what the poll was that you took here. So
yes, Robert, we did a poll on Neighbor, N-A-B-U-R, and we asked, when do you feel it's appropriate to tip? And we had 47 votes. 38% said anytime the option is available. 30% said if the service is above average, and then 32% said I tip a standard 20%. Nobody says that they don't tip. So that was our results. Is that shocking, or what are your thoughts?
I don't think that's a problem, but I think people are always going to tip. That's part of our culture. But having something like this put into your face and saying, what do you want to leave? If you're standing in line buying a scone or coffee and there's a line behind you, and you don't feel that you want to leave 20% or 10% or even 5%, there's a sense of pressure that I have a line behind me, I have to. And I think it takes away of the idea of wanting to tip for good service. Somebody who brings you a cup of coffee, pours the coffee into a cup here, and then puts this into your face. It's kind of sketchy.
Okay. Well, you guys heard it here. You got some insight on Robert's story. Thanks, Robert, for your time. Be sure to check out this upcoming story on myheraldreview.com. I'm Jahdai.
I'm Robert.
And make sure to keep looking on Neighbor for more inside scoops. Everything here at the Herald Review. Bye, neighbors! Robert!
I can't do this anymore.
Bye, neighbors. Robert!